Back in the 80s, if you drove a fast motor, the girls thought you was a fast fella. And if you drove a flash car, the girls thought you was a flash fella. Today, I'm driving fast flash motors, so the girls think I'm a fast flash fella. Come on. Oh yeah, by the way, welcome back to the circuit. My name is Mark and this is Scalextric Racer. It was always your best mate's elder brother that was a fast flash fella with a fast flash car. And I reckon if you close your eyes, you can probably still picture it now, can't you? The air horn and the sun visor. Do you remember the sun visor with his name and the name of his girlfriend over the top? And let's be frank, we were desperate to be his fast flash passenger, weren't we? Riding shotgun beside him. But back in the early 80s, what do you think the working lad's fast flash car would have been? Because we had to go, but it was a bit early for the hot hatch days and we were still waiting for the Renault 5 and the Peugeot 205. Well, I've got two contenders. I reckon early 80s fast flash motor would be the Ford Escort Mk2 and the ultimate Ford Capri. I thought, it'd be a fun video to hone in on those two cars, and we're lucky because Scalextric produced examples of those two cars as their club car, one in 2022 and one in 2023. So I thought we could concentrate on those cars and we could do a video all about fast flash motors, the Ford Escort and the Ford Capri. But I'm a bit cramped here as usual, so I'll come underneath and I'll explain exactly what we're going to do today. So the Scalextric Club, it no longer exists in the same format that it did when I got today's two models. But I used to think it was a really great concept. You used to join in January and it used to cost you about £40. And for that, you got the annual catalogue, which contained the whole year's range. And then partway through the year, you used to get sent your exclusive club model. There was always a big excitement about what the year's club model was going to be, and that was followed by the agonising wait for it to arrive, and you used to have to check Facebook every day to see if any had started dropping on match yet. The club finished, well, in that format anyway, in 2024, and the last club car model was a Mini Cooper S, or I should say Cooper S, because they spelt it with 3 O's on the box for some reason, God knows why. But in 2002 the club car was a Ford Escort Mk2, and then in 2023 it was a Ford Capri Mk3. And those are the two cars that I'm featuring in this edition of Scalextric Racer. So let me tell you exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to do a full review on both cars. We're going to take a real close-up look at the livery and the features on board, and then I'm going to load them up into the Scrutineer's bay and we'll take the top off and we'll have a real close look inside how they've been made. Then I'm going to weigh and measure them, and all that data I'm going to pass over to my very good friend Dr. Vale over at ChatGPT, and she will be able to predict exactly how the cars should behave when we get them on the track. But seeing is believing, so we're going to put Dr. Vale's predictions to the test in my 2-minute challenge. So we'll see how many laps and the fastest lap time those two cars can achieve in a 2-minute endurance race. After that, we're going to have rounds 4 and 5 of the Birmingham Super Prix car pursuit, which I'm running here on my tribute to the Birmingham Super Prix circuit. We'll see how those two cars measure up to my two pacer car drivers, Daytona and Le Mans. And of course I've got all of your other favourites coming up. So we've mentioned Dr. Vale, but we've also got a special report coming up from Tom McGear, and we've got episode 4 of the Birmingham Super Prix story as told by my Brummie legend Paul Green. It's going to be a really busy episode. I've been really working hard on my timings and I'm going for exactly 40 minutes. It's not long to watch, is it? So do please stay tuned. But with such a bumper edition, the best thing that we can do is to actually crack on and make a start. Well, let's start off the episode with a track update, and yes, for once I have actually been quite busy. Well, not exactly busy, but I have at least made some progress. I've been mentioning the gap between this row of council houses and this block of masonettes. So while I think that the council houses look quite nice, the masonettes look to me a little bit too two-dimensional. It's a low relief building. So to address that problem, I've actually made myself a tree. I followed a well-documented hobby hack to build it, which involves shredding up a yellow pan scourer, colouring it green and super gluing it to a tree-shaped skeleton. There's plenty of advice how to do this across YouTube, so I can't really add much. The one tip I would give you is try not to super glue your fingers into the project, as I did on many occasions. The last track addition to bring to your attention is this green scatter material that I've put just underneath the Cavendish Finance advertising hoardings, just to soften the line a little bit. I think it works quite well, doesn't it? I've made this using a florist's Oasis block, so not the big sponge job, but the one we had was actually compressed fibres. So I've just teased those fibres out and stuck it down with a little PVA glue just along the edge there. I think that's come out quite well. I think my next area to tackle is this dead space here by Bristol Street Motors. So I'm imagining maybe a Marshall point. I'll see how I get on with that, and maybe look out for it in the next edition. But that's all the activity that's happened on the track. So I think what we need to do next is have a look at today's two cars. Here we are with today's two cars, the Shell Oils Ford Escort Mk2 and the Letchworth Roofing Ford Capri. Let's move the Capri out of the way so we can hone in on this beauty first. And it literally is a beauty. This particular car is frequently referred to as the Shell Oils Black Beauty. So let's turn the box around and I'll show you exactly what we've got. So this is a Scalextric 4291 Ford Escort Mk2. It's the 1982 Manx rally car, driven by Ari Vatanen. I think there's actually a spelling mistake on the box wrapper. Vatanen is spelled V-A-T-A-N-E-N, not V-A-T-E-N. There's nothing to suggest that it's an exclusive model on the back of the box, but if we turn it round to the front again, you can just see the official Scalextric Club card inlay at the back. There are lots of reference pictures for this car online, and I'd say the accuracy of the livery looks spot on. I will say there's something slightly strange going on with some Shell Oil logos which are just underneath the indicators on the front of the car. I'll show you exactly what I mean when we get into the Scrutineer's bay, but for now let's move on and have a look at the Capri. Accurate details of this specific car seem to be quite elusive, and so far I haven't uncovered a single real-world reference photograph of the car in this exact Letchworth Roofing livery. However, Graham Skid Scarborough's ownership of the car is well documented online. Mostly Skid ran the car in a yellow track marshal colour, only switching to this Letchworth Roofing livery in the 84 season. If we check the back of the box, you can see we have C4371 Scalextric 2023 Club Car Ford Capri Mk3 Skid Scarborough Castrol. Because of the lack of photographs, it's hard to comment on the accuracy of the livery. I've seen a Rover Vitesse that he ran in this exact same livery and it looks historically correct. If we look at the feature icons on the packaging, both cars are fundamentally the same. We have easy change guide blades, magnet traction and working rear lights. The differences come at the front, so the Capri has standard working headlights, whereas the Escort boasts Xenon style lights. Woo! And both cars are digital plug ready, but the Capri carries one extra feature that I can't, stating it is spark plug ready. Well, next up we need to get both of these cars set up in the Scrutineer's bay and do a full teardown. While I'm getting things ready in the bay, let's hand over to Tom McGear, who has a very special report on today's cars.
Fast flash motors. In the early 1980s, the logic was beautifully, undeniably simple. If you drove a fast flash motor, the girls thought you were a fast flash fella. And back then, if you wanted a flash motor, you had two choices. First, the Ford Escort Mk2, a car favoured by two types of people: rally legends who could drift around a hairpin blindly, and blokes named Kev who thought a Colonel Bogey air horn might pass an MOT test. They didn't. Alternatively, you had the Ford Capri, the ultimate street racer chariot. It had a bonnet longer than a wet Monday in Blackpool, and an image so aggressively masculine it came with a bare chest, a gold medallion, and enough denim aftershave to make Patrick Mower pass out. But today, we are looking at how Scalextric immortalised these legends for the Scalextric Club. First up, Ari Vatanen's legendary Shell Oils Escort from the 1982 Manx Rally. Vatanen didn't just drive this car, he absolutely bossed it through the gruelling Isle of Man stages, taking a commanding victory and cementing the Escort's rallying credentials. And its opponent? The red and white Capri of Graham Skid Scarborough. Don't let that local Metro Breakers door badge fool you. For 1984, he threw a lightweight fiberglass bonnet on this machine, making the tail-happy, long-nosed beast even more unadulteratedly terrifying to keep in a straight line. He painted it in these Letchworth Roofing colours and went out to trade paint with the best in the business. Which one of these 80s icons actually rules the track? Let's go back to the Scrutineer's bay and find out.
So the first thing I've done is I've weighed the two cars. So for the Escort we've got 82 grams and for the Capri we've got 75 grams. I'll bring them both face on, so there we go. So we'll talk about the front wheel track, which is 52mm on the Escort and 49mm on the Capri. The livery, quite busy on the Escort, isn't it? But I will mention those Shell Oil logos which are below the indicators there. Unusual spacing. I think if I was the R&D manager I may have sent those back for a redesign. Very simple livery on the Capri, not much to see really. Both cars benefit from quite fine windscreen wipers, quite delicate, nicely in scale. Only one wing mirror on the Capri, that's quite interesting. Two wing mirrors on the Escort, they're very flimsy actually. Occupants of the car, so two occupants in the Escort, that's a driver and a co-pilot. The co-pilot is holding a map, the driver's on the right, which is correct for a British car. In the Capri there's just one driver. In both cars the drivers have been picked out in three separate colours, so different coloured helmet, coverall and a flesh coloured face. The front fog lights on the Escort are not sure whether they're historically accurate. I've seen pictures of this car with just two fog lights. I've seen pictures of the car with three fog lights. Let's shift the cars to the side and we'll have a look at the livery. And there you are. I think you've got quite a good view of the cars there. A really busy livery, as I said before, on the Escort. Lots of heritage British names there represented. I can see Ferodo, Lucas, Champion. Not much in the way of sponsorship on the Letchworth Roofing car. While we've got the cars like this, we'll talk about the wheelbase. So 74mm for the Escort, 80mm for the Capri. The roof height 47 for the Escort, 42 for the Capri. Now I do measure centre of gravity. For the Escort it's 54mm behind the front axle, and for the Capri it's 57mm. The wheels themselves are 7-spoke wheels. They look the same on both cars. Silver on the Escort, white on the Capri. The tyres I will mention, I've measured them at 90mm. These cars have the treaded tyres, which I find quite hard and don't grip the track too well, in my opinion. So let's leave it there for this view, and I'm going to turn the cars to the back and we'll have a look at the rear of the cars. There you are, both cars have rear lights. The Escort benefits from a separately painted exhaust pipe underneath. Capri is actually quite a simple car, isn't it? Quite low on detail. Both cars have spoilers there. I don't think those spoilers are going to come off because they're quite low and closely fitted to the car. I will mention that both cars have separately fitted fenders or bumpers in the UK. And I'll just bring the cars down to the other side. Not really much to see different there, although you can actually see the driver a little bit better in the Escort in this view. So I think the thing to do now is to take the tops off and we'll have a look inside them. So there's the Escort first. It's a very simple job to get inside the car, just 4 screws. If we look at the motor there, it's the slim can. Interestingly, it has a brass pinion gear, nylon crown gears. The headlights are provided by 2 LEDs that are fitted to this one circuit board at the front. It's quite a bulky cockpit area. You can see just the driver's feet there. As usual, Scalextric have provided an abundance of wires which are all tangled up inside the chassis. And let's move this out of the way now, and I'm going to bring the Capri into shot. So there's both halves of the Capri. This was another really simple job to separate the chassis from the body, just 3 screws. You can see that we've got the standard S-can motor with the nylon gear train. The gear ratio on both cars is 9 teeth to 27 teeth. This one is particularly clean, isn't it? It's not been around the track hardly at all. The lights at the front, 2 LEDs on a single circuit board. If we compare the cockpit there, it's much less substantial on the Capri, and in fact there's far less of the driver. We only get his arms, he doesn't have no legs. This car already has a digital chip fitted, you can see it there, and also I'll just point out that the bumpers are actual separate parts, which is always a nice detail when it's a separate part as opposed to a body moulding. So I think you'll agree, just 2 straightforward Scalextric cars. Let's bring them both back into shot. And I'll bring you the last couple of bits of data. So lifting force, this is the force required to lift the back of the car up off the track, even with the magnet fitted. So 1.1 newtons for the Escort, just 1 newton for the Capri, so that's quite similar I guess. Sliding force, this isn't very good for either of these 2 cars. Only 0.7 of a newton to make the Escort slide laterally, and 0.4 of a newton, even less, to make the Capri slide laterally. So that doesn't hold out much hope for any grip on the track. But let's give all that data to Dr. Vale. She will give me a cast iron prediction, and I'm going to get ready for some racing.
Hello, I'm Dr. Vale Zamani, and based on the weight, size and forces acting on slot car models, I can predict how they'll feel to race on the track. Now, this is a fascinating comparison because these 2 Fords arrive at the start line with very different personalities. On paper, the Capri looks like the athlete. At just 75 grams, it's 7 grams lighter than the Escort. So every time the motor asks for acceleration, there's simply less mass to persuade into motion. Physics likes lighter cars. But then we reach the first corner, and the story changes. The Capri generates around 0.4 newtons of lateral sliding force, whereas the Escort almost doubles that at 0.7 newtons. That's a considerable difference. It suggests the Escort can develop much greater sideways force before the tyres begin to surrender. On the Super Prix circuit, particularly through the linked bends of Sector 3, I'd expect the Escort to carry noticeably more speed, and perhaps more importantly, let the driver return to the throttle much earlier. The Escort also enjoys a little more magnetic downforce and a centre of gravity positioned slightly further forward. That combination should make it feel calmer during quick direction changes. The Capri, by contrast, is likely to feel eager and responsive, but perhaps just a little nervous if you're asking too much through the tightening corners. Now, for the predictions. The Capri's 19mm wheels and 11 to 36 gearing produce a theoretical maximum speed of 4.97 metres per second, around 11.1 miles per hour. I calculate a 0 to top speed time of approximately 0.44 seconds. The Escort's shorter 9 to 27 gearing sacrifices outright speed for stronger acceleration. Its predicted maximum is 3.98 metres per second, or 8.9 miles per hour, reached in roughly 0.36 seconds. So, despite being slower on the straights, the Escort should spend less time waiting to regain speed after every corner. My predicted gold lap for the Capri is 5.82 seconds, giving a human achievable target of 6.46 seconds. For the Escort Mk2, I predict a gold lap of 5.55 seconds, with a human target of 6.17 seconds. So the verdict from the physics? The Capri may well look spectacular, but unless those flowing sections dominate the lap, the Escort's superior grip should repay its extra weight many times over. According to the physics, the Escort Mk2 wins this one all day.
Well, we've looked at the 2 cars, we've spoken about the 2 cars, we've even got Dr. Vale's predictions for those 2 cars. So let's put all that information to the test in today's 2-minute challenge. Don't forget, cars that do well in the 2-minute challenge may earn their place on the shelf of champions, but this is getting a really busy shelf. 9 cars have gone under 6 seconds. Today's cars at risk is the little Porsche Boxster and Jade Edwards Honda Civic, but let's see how today's cars do. Let's go straight over to the track. Hello, my name is Mark Mk3 and welcome down to the track for today's track action, and we're going to be starting with the 2-minute challenge for the Ford Escort Mk2 and the Ford Capri Mk3. Both challenges have already been filmed. I'll be showing you them side by side, so the Escort in the left hand window and the Capri on the right. You can see their Vale's predicted time, 6.17 versus 6.46 seconds for the Capri. So I'll be showing you fastest lap times will be coming up in green, the overall fastest lap will be in purple, all other lap times will show in yellow. So let's see what happens as we come through to complete the first lap. And the Escort records the quickest time there is 6.110. Lap 2, the fastest lap is the Capri with 6.642. And there's another fast lap for the Escort, 6.431. A fast lap time there for the Capri, 6.509. But the Escort goes quicker with 6.373. The and 6.507. 6.307, sorry, I was about to say that the Escort is actually the heavier car. The Capri has quite a narrow stance, and I think it's finding it difficult to come down the Ormond corner just as it comes underneath this underpass. But currently, the fastest overall time is 6.164, lap 7 for the Escort. The Capri, its fastest time is 6.509, which you got on lap 4. We've just gone under the halfway mark now, so let's see what transpires. Lap 10, the Escort goes quickest again with 6.027. Don't forget, only 8 cars have gone under 6 seconds on this circuit. Lap 12 there for the Capri, 6.501. And there's another 6 second lap there for the Escort. That's lap 14, 5.973. So at last one of the cars has gone underneath 6 seconds. And it's doing it again now on lap 16, 5.956. And fastest again, lap 17, that's 5.859. So we've only got 8 seconds left. Will both cars get in another lap? With just 2 seconds left in the challenge. Here are the lights. So there we are. So the Escort completed 19 laps. Its fastest time was 5.859, and the Capri completed 17 laps, and its fastest time was 6.389. So that's put the Escort onto 8th place in the 2-minute challenge leaderboard. The Capri only manages 13th place. Here are the other cars. So an exciting challenge. Well, for me that was a little bit of a funny 2-minute challenge. I'm not sure how I feel. I think that we need to come back at the end of the video and discuss it. But while we're here, let's bring our shelf of champions up to date. So as you know, the Ford Capri, it's only got 13th position with 6.368 as its fastest lap. So here it is, the 13th fastest car in my collection, but sadly not on the shelf of champions, so this one's going to go inside the house. However, the Ford Escort Mk3, it did get a good time to hit the shelf of champions. It managed to get 5.859, which puts it in 8th position. Sadly though, we do have to say goodbye to one of these cars, and this time it's this little Porsche Boxster, this little blue Porsche Boxster, and that's going to go inside the house with the Ford Capri. So there we are. Before we go over to the Pacer Car Pursuit and see how the cars perform in a competitive situation, let's remind ourselves that my circuit is based on the Birmingham Super Prix circuit. So let's continue our story of the Birmingham Super Prix.
Alright, I'm Paul Green. Yeah, a bit like Hall Green, only without the number 11 buzz going through it. For 5 years, I had the best view of the Birmingham Super Prix, right from our wench's house in Lee Bank. I didn't need a ticket, I just opened the window to see it. Now I'm here to tell you how the whole story. Aye up, how bin ya? Now where was we? We were right on the edge of our seats because Birmingham had done the unthinkable. Built a full street circuit through the middle of the city. It was all going to happen. The Super Prix. But the sky looked a bit black. They were saying Hurricane Charlie's on its way. It's August Bank Holiday 1986. Dave Lucas and the council had pulled off a miracle. Barriers up, roads closed, grandstands packed. Half of Brum turned out in their thousands, lining Bristol Street, crowding round Halford's Corner, all buzzing for the race. And the atmosphere? Oh, Bab, it was electric. You had thunder saloons thundering down the middleway, Rover V8s rattling the windows, and even the local yobbos were taking a day off to look at the single-seaters. It felt like Birmingham had stepped onto the world stage. But behind the scenes, Dave Lucas was still sweating. Just before the weekend kicked off, some yampy buggers went and loosened all the bolts on the Armco barriers overnight. Can you believe it? The team had to leg it round the circuit at dawn, tightening hundreds of meters of steel. Still, Bernie Eccleston kept his promise, and the headline act, the International Formula 3000, was ready to roll. And we had proper talent in town. Future Formula One names. Pierluigi Martini in the Route. Young Luis Perez Sala in the Onyx. They were blasting down Belgrave Middleway at 170 miles an hour. You couldn't make it up. Birmingham looked like Monaco with bus stops. But all weekend, everyone kept glancing at the sky. 'Cause we knew Charlie was coming, and on Monday, it hit. It didn't just rain. The heavens opened like someone had tipped Moseley swimming baths into the sky. The circuit turned into a river. The F3000 cars were aquaplaning everywhere, throwing up walls of spray taller than the barriers. You could barely see the drivers, just shapes in the storm. By lap 24, the organisers looked at the rivers running down Bristol Road and said, "Right, that's it." They threw the red flag. Race shortened. Safety first. Luis Perez Sala took the win for Onyx, but with the distance cut short, it was only half points. But here's the thing. Even with the hurricane rain, we'd done it. Against the odds, against the weather, against the doubters. Birmingham had hosted an international street race. Dave Lucas barely had time to breathe, because the council bosses were already tapping him on the shoulder saying, "Right, Dave, brilliant job. Now, how are we going to make it bigger and better for next year?"
So let's continue our track action with round 4 of the Birmingham Super Pacer car pursuit, featuring the Ford Escort Mk2. So I'll show you the grid. Lee Mans is going off in pole position. He is driving the Porsche 997. Daytona has chosen the BMW 125i. And Franco Champ is third on the grid in the Ford Escort Mk2. That is today's featured car. So here comes the start sequence. The lights go green and we are racing. So let's see what transpires here. Franco Champ is holding out for another win, of course. There's some contact there.
There's no power in the car.
So there's Daytona. Daytona's reporting that she's got no power in the car and she has fallen a long way behind. Only 2 laps completed and Daytona's a long way behind. Lee Mans leads the race, but Franco Champ is coming up on the outside. This is coming through for lap 4 completed, and Franco Champ has taken the lead. So Franco Champ is now in the lead in the race. Lee Mans is second in the Porsche. Daytona is a very, very long way behind in the BMW 125. 6 laps completed. It's still Franco Champ, and he's coming through to lap Daytona. Daytona has been lapped. Her car must be in an awful condition. We really need to find out after the race what's going on with that. But Franco Champ has a clear track now. He's completed 8 laps. Lee Mans is a long way behind. He's 3.5 seconds behind. 9 laps completed by Frank. This looks like a clear victory for him with only half the lap completed. So he's just completed 10 laps. 10 laps to go. Daytona's coming under the sights again. I think she's going to get... She has. She's got lapped a second time.
This is just uncompetitive. Freaking car. So slow.
Race to the end, guys. Good job.
Daytona's complaining bitterly about the car there to her pit. I think Franco Champ has just gone past Lee Mans, so Lee Mans is also lapped. So Franco Champ has finished 14 laps so far. He's in the lead by a long way. He's lapped both cars. Daytona's been lapped twice. This is an easy victory for Franco Champ. He's only joined the championship this year, but he's proving to be a really successful driver. 17 laps completed there. He's keeping pace now with Lee Mans, but don't forget Lee Mans is one whole lap behind. Coming through for his penultimate lap. This will be the start of lap 20, so 19 completed. He's on his last lap now, and it looks like an easy win for Franco Champ. He comes through and he takes the checkered flag. Lee Mans is in second. Daytona, we follow her car down. She's a long way behind in third place. Well, there's confirmation of the result. Let's see if we can catch up with the drivers and have a chat about today's action.
Di, another bad day on the track in round 4.
Oh, hi Tom. Yes, another disappointing round. I'm going to see about the car.
Is there a problem with the car?
We have race 5 coming up. Let's just look forward to the next race. Thanks everyone. Lee!
So Daytona playing her cards close to her chest there. This is how Franco Champ darted in front of her. Now we see how Franco Champ took the lead in the race when he went past Lee Mans. This was on lap 4. He came up on the outside there and overtook him on the start-finish straight. And let's have a look at Franco Champ taking the checkered flag. There he goes. A wonderful victory for Franco Champ in the pacer car pursuit. And here we are with the last of today's track action. This is round 5 of the Birmingham Super Pacer car pursuit. The grid for this race looks remarkably similar to the last one, with Lee Mans going off in pole position there in the Porsche 997. Daytona stuck with the BMW 125. Franco Champ this time is driving the Ford Capri, going off in third on the grid. So Daytona's had some work done to that BMW 125. Let's see if it performs better. So we're coming round for lap 1. Cars all holding position. Lee Mans comes over the line first. Daytona is in second. So it does look like an improvement for Daytona. Coming out for lap 2. And the position still hold. Lee Mans in first. Daytona in second. Franco Champ at the wheel at the moment. Franco Champ seems to be pulling up just as he goes round that R1 turn. I don't think the Capri handles that corner very well. But this time he's gone past Daytona and he's flipped inside, so Franco Champ now is up into second and has cut Daytona off and is challenging Lee Mans for the lead there. He comes in, Halford's in the lead. Can he take it on this lap? Yes, he comes over the line first, so 6 laps completed and Franco Champ is in the lead. Lee Mans is second, Daytona is in third, and it does appear that Daytona started to fall back now. So Franco Champ's holding the lead. Lee Mans hasn't let him get away yet. 8 laps completed. Will Lee Mans come back at him? Starting to open up a gap. Franco Champ completes lap 10. That's half the distance completed. There's about half a second between the two cars. Daytona's fallen quite some way behind now. So I think she's out of the running for this race. 12 laps completed. Franco Champ leads from Lee Mans. And he's got a nice clear track in front of him now. I can't see him making any more mistakes. He looks like his second victory for today. This Franco Champ is enjoying the championship this year.
Nice and smooth, Frank. Keep concentrating.
Brilliant. Pure, dead, brilliant.
Frank's obviously enjoying the race so far, giving his message to the pit crew there. 16 laps completed, coming round for the end of lap 17. Franco Champ leads. The gap to Lee Mans is now 1.3 seconds. Daytona is a long way behind. Daytona's in Frank's sights. Is she going to get lapped for the second race in succession? But we're on the last lap now. Daytona is holding off from being lapped. But let's see if Franco Champ, he comes out to take the checkered flag. There he goes. Lee Mans in second. We'll follow Daytona around as she completes her race and she finishes there in third position. There are the red lights and the race is over. So let's see that on the final leaderboard. Franco Champ There was a gap of 1.6 seconds back to Lee Mans. Daytona was there in third. If we look at the standings, Franco Champ took 18 points for each race. That puts him in the lead on 79 overall. Daytona holds firm on 36. Lee Mans with 24 points is in third. So there we are, we've reached the end of another episode, and if you're still watching, I just want to say thank you very much. It really does mean the world to me if we can get to this part of the episode and we're still watching together. But now let's get on with my all-important review scores of today's two cars. Did either of these two cars make me feel particularly fast or particularly flash? Let's go through though. So detail for the Ford Escort, well, the livery was nice, it was very busy. I like the fact that there was two co-drivers, they've been painted nicely. The headlights were definitely wrong, only two fog lights on the real car. I'm going to go with 4 stars. The Ford Capri, now the real car wasn't actually that detailed. If you look at the livery on it, and I managed to find one picture, there's not much there, so it's difficult for Scalextric to put detail in a car when it didn't exist on the real car. I've gone 3.5 stars. So performance, so in a 2-minute challenge both cars felt not nice to drive. The Ford Escort, it was a noisy car. I felt it was bottoming out on sections of my track. Okay, it managed to get 8 on the Shelf of Champions. I felt it could go a lot faster. I felt with both cars the problem was the treaded tyres. Treaded tyres I find on Scalextric cars are always really hard. The performance for the Escort I've given 3.5 stars. The performance for the Capri, well, that back end was so lively I just couldn't get anything decent out of it, so I've only gone 3 stars. The mechanism inside both cars was basic really. The Escort did have that brass bearing, very unusual for the Scalextric car, had a slim cam motor. The Capri, it was nice and tidy wiring wise, but no great shakes. I've gone with 4 stars for the Escort, 3.5 stars for the Capri. For quality I've gone 3.5 stars for both cars. For the Escort, that Shell Oils logo was definitely wrong. There was a really unusual space. I don't know whether it showed up that well on the video that I took, but there's really unusual spacing. I didn't like it at all. For the Capri, there was just nothing to shout out on a quality car, so just box standard, 3.5 for both cars. Value, I've gone 4 stars for each car. That's quite high. As you know, as I've mentioned all the way along, these two cars were part of the Scalextric Club, so it felt like you was getting more because you was getting your catalogue and all your other membership values. And because they're club cars, they have some sort of intrinsic value that makes them collectible. So presumably these two cars are going to hold their value and maybe even go up in years to come. So I've totaled all that up. For the Ford Escort we get 76 points. For the Ford Capri, quite disappointing, 70 points. If we briefly look at my banding system there, so in context, where does that put these two cars? Well, there we are. The Ford Escort is basically, it's a good car. It doesn't set the world alight, but there it is in the notebook there. And the Capri really didn't cut the mustard at all for me. I was quite disappointed. It's only a standard car. Standard cars are okay, aren't they? I guess the world's full of standard cars, but there it is in the notebook. So over to you really, what do you think? I think out of the two cars, probably the Capri would be the only one that would make me feel fast and flash. That would have been the one that I wanted to drive when I was a lad and I couldn't afford one. Although at my age I don't really feel particularly fast or flash, and guess what, these days it's probably a little bit of a sexist thing to say as well, isn't it? The line itself, in case you're wondering, it's straight out of an 80s film, a cult film called Party Party starring Daniel Peacock, and it just always makes me laugh every time I see it. Well, that's it, we're right at the end now. So this was quite a difficult episode for me to make because I've had my eye on the timings and I've had to do a lot of these shoots. I think it's taken me nearly 4 weeks to get this episode ready, so I do hope you've appreciated it. If you have, please click on the old thumbs up icon down below and subscriptions as well. So if you've found me today for the first time, or you've been here before and you haven't subscribed yet, do please click on that subscribe button, because it doesn't cost you anything, but to me it's a massive ego boost and it helps me make more great content just like this one was. And your comments, always interested in your comments. So what did you think of the two cars? Did they make you feel fast or flash? Or how about the Scalextric Club? Were you a member? Is it something that you missed? Would you like to see brought back? Put it all down in the comments. I do read every single one and I try and respond to every single one. So that's it then. That is the actual end of the episode. Nothing else to say other than, if I don't see you through the week, I'm definitely going to see you around the circuit. Okay, so bye till next time. See ya.